updated video. Actually 2 years and 1 month. It's pretty much been 2 years to the day. I filmed a top 10 contemporary. It's been one of my most requested videos because I love contemporary. You guys know that. I just read contemporary quite a lot. So I decided to make that, and I figured it's been 2 years. I've read a lot more contemporary since then. I have a lot more new favorites, and I thought I'd share with you an updated top 10 contemporary. Now, I will say, yes, I read a lot of contemporary, but it takes a lot, like a lot for me to really love a contemporary, like fall in love with that. I guess I'm very strict with it. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying like I'm a professional contemporary reader. I don't know. It takes a lot for me to fall in love with a contemporary book. So this list is new, but kind of different in a way. So basically with that top 10, which I will link right here, and then it's also a link down below if you want to go check it out. A lot of the same authors from that top 10 video are going to be in this top 10 video, but it's going to be like newer books they've released. So it's kind of a new video, but it's kind of not because I'm using a lot of the same authors, because there's a lot of contemporary authors that are like my go-to ones, and they've released books in the past 2 years that I've just fallen in love with. And some of these are brand new books, and a couple of them are books from last time, because I couldn't really find 100% 10 new books I've read that I've just loved contemporary-wise. So enough jibber jabber, I'm going to get into it. The first 2 books I'm going to show you are actually books that were in my last video, but I thought I mentioned them anyway because they're just some of my favorites. Like I said, if you want to go check out my first video where I have a lot more contemporary books to talk about, go check it out. So the first book that was in my last video is The Sister of the Traveling Pants series by Anne Brashard. And the reason why I put this in again is because I feel like this is a very understated book. Not a lot of people have read it, at least not that I know of. It's an older book. I read it when I was in high school. I'm 27 now, just to give you a gist of how long ago that was. It's just stuck with me. It's a 4-book series. There is like an adult sequel to it where they're all grown up, which is also very good, but very sad. But this is just... it's an old classic for me. The covers are not that great. These are the original covers. They've newly vamped them to look more summery, look more fun, which, you know, I can go give or take on those covers. But the series is just so nice. It's about 4 girls that are best friends. Each one of them is so different, you know, personality-wise, shape-wise, whatever-wise. But they all fit in these same jeans. This one pair of jeans, it all fits them magically. And so every book, it's a 4-book series, it's about a summer, and usually in the summer they're apart, so it's about each one of their summers, and they send the jeans back and forth to one another. It's just really, really good. I love this series. I'll keep recommending it because it's just a series that doesn't get a lot of love, people. And the last one that was in my last video that I'm going to talk about is Crash Into You by Katie Mcgarry. I have read all of Katie Mcgarry's books, I believe, and Crash Into You remains to be one of my favorites. Now, in these past 2 years, she has released her new book, which is a new series, Nowhere But Here. I like that one. I didn't love it. Crash Into You is just my favorite. This is actually book 3 of the Pushing the Limit series. And a lot of contemporary series, you learn that you don't have to read them in order. You can read one out of a series. You can read them out of order. It doesn't really matter. You know, might be a good thing to read them in order because they will have characters from previous novels intertwining. It just makes more sense. But if you don't want to read them in order, you just want to read one, go for it. So the one I recommend from the Pushing the Limit series is Crash Into You. Oh my gosh, guys. The love I have for this book is boundless. It's just so great. The characters in it is great. It's a nice steamy, lovey romance. It's just awesome. I love it so much. So I highly recommend this one, and this was on my last video, so yeah. Okay, now on to the newer books that I'm going to talk about. And a lot of these authors are authors you're going to hear that you've heard of, but they're just my favorites. The first one's by Stephanie Perkins. That's Lola and the Boy Next Door. This is part of the Anna and the French Kiss series. In my first video, I talked about Anna and the French Kiss being my favorite, and I think it still is. It's a 3-book one. But I think my second favorite would be Lola and the Boy Next Door. I liked Isla. I think I even rated it 5, but looking back on it, I didn't enjoy it as much as these other 2. And I like Lola, but it's not like my ultimate favorite like Anna, because Lola is kind of a give or take character, you know? Lola is I love her personality. She's got a quirky style, and she's not afraid to do what she wants, but she's kind of immature, but she's a teenager, so you get it. You know, sometimes it's hard reading contemporary YA books as an adult because sometimes they do a lot of, you know, childish things because they're teenagers, which I get, but it takes me sometimes. I'm like, girl, you need to grow up. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're 16. You've got time. But I love Lola. It's just a really sweet book. And if you're looking for any sweet type of sugary, I'd say sugary substance type of romance, definitely pick up Stephanie Perkins. She will just make you happy, and it's just awesome. The next book I want to talk about is Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. If you have watched my top 5 contemporary authors, she was on it. I love Morgan Matson. I have loved every single book she has written. Amy and Roger's Epic Detour is my last video, but this one just released not last year, but the year beforehand, and this really comes close to Amy Rogers. I just love it so. This is about two girls that are best friends, and one best friend just disappears and leaves the other best friend like a list of things to do, like skinny dip, go apple picking, all this other stuff, and it's really about her friend finding herself when the best friend's gone. It's just such a great friendship novel. It's such a great adventure type of novel. It's just so amazing. Excuse me, I have the arc on it. I wish I had the hardcover because it's beautiful. But this is just such a fun book. That's all I can say about it. Morgan Wrightson writes fun books. She does have another one called Second Chance Summer, which is a very sad book, but it's also an amazing book. But I love this book so much. It's one of my all-time favorite contemporary novels, honestly. This is just such a great friendship, fun novel. I love it so much. It is Saint Anything by Sarah Dessen. This should come as a surprise. I love Sarah Dessen, and I love Say Anything. This came out this past year, and I devoured it so. This is one of my top 5, I'd say, Sarah Dessen novels. I just love it so much. So forgive me, it's with my friend right now. I love Sarah Dessen. This is about a girl whose brother gets put in jail, and her mom still puts her brother on a pedestal even though he's in jail. She can't realize that her brother's at fault for things, and the girl feels very, like, she takes all the family's, like, faults on her, and she really struggles with that. She's trying to show her family, you know, that not everyone's perfect, that it's okay not to be perfect, and it's okay to have consequences for your actions. So it's just all about that, and she meets this new group of friends, and of course a boy's involved. As always with Sarah Dessen's books, the supporting cast is amazing. The supporting characters just make the book for me. I just love them so much. You have these crazy friends, and it's just, they're awesome. I love Say Anything. It's just an amazing book. I highly recommend you pick this one up. And the next one, which I also don't have with me because I really don't need a book, is Breathe, Annie, Breathe by Miranda Kelleny. Forgive me if I pronounced that wrong. I read this one also a couple years ago. I think I just read a lot of great contemporary after I filmed my first video. Miranda Kelleny has written a lot of contemporary books, and I've read a good majority of them, and a lot of them I like, I don't love. But Breathe, Annie, Breathe has stuck with me all these years, and I think it's because it was such a good plot base. It's about this girl named Annie, obviously, whose boyfriend has passed away, and she decides to train for like a marathon in his honor. It's all about her running and all about her training, and of course there's love involved, but it was such a good character book. I loved Annie. I love watching her progression. I love the whole running aspect. There were playlists involved. I'm a sucker for playlists and books, honestly. Like, I just can't get enough of them. But it was such a good, refreshing book. It's a light book that it's got some depth because it's got some depth, obviously, because the boyfriend died, but it's still a light and refreshing book, which I love that one. I highly recommend you pick this one up. It's a very short book, so you can fly through it, but it's still a really good contemporary book. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Boy Most Likely To by Huntley Fitzpatrick. In my first video, I talked about My Life Next Door, which is right here. This is also going with the same characters, if you will, in My Life Next Door. It takes place from one of the sisters of the boys in the first book. This is about their relationship. It's about this guy named Tim who's got a lot of, baggage in his life. He's got a lot of faults, and he meets this girl named Alice, or he's known her, and all this other stuff happens, but it's just a really good book. I think my all-time favorite Huntley Fitzpatrick novel will be My Life Next Door. It's because it's such a lovey, fresh, lovey type of read. It's just so sweet, honestly. I love those sweet, sugary books, if you can tell. I call them sugary because, I feel like it's like candy. If that makes sense at all, I don't know. But The Boy Most Likely To is really also kind of sweet, but it's also got a lot of sadness in it. But I really liked it, honestly. It was a really good book. I have reviews, I think, of all these books on mentioned, by the way. If you want to go check them out, I'll leave the links down below. But the next book I want to talk about is Dumpling by Julie Murphy. And I actually just read this one the latter part of this past year. It's like 2016, so it's really weird saying last year is 2015 because it's insane. Anyway, this is about a girl named Willow Dean who is overweight, so I really personally connected with this book because I myself am overweight, and confidence comes a big issue when you're overweight because confidence is just a huge factor. It's about Willow Dean who's overweight, but it has great confidence. It's about her friendship with her friend and about her entering this pageant and all this other kind of stuff. Basically, I should say that this book is all about self-confidence and loving who you are no matter what shape, what size, yada yada, who you are. It's an amazing book. I love it so. It was actually my top 10 favorites of 2015. It's just a really good self-confidence book, and it'll really honestly make you smile, so it's a great book. The next one I talk about is a holiday book, but I feel like you could read it any time of the year if you wanted to, honestly, but it is holiday based. And that is My True Love Gave to Me, and it's 12 holiday stories edited by Stephanie Perkins. And why I put this on this list is because, yes, it's a contemporary book. I think it's got a few supernatural ones, but for the majority it's contemporary, and they're just so great. I have a whole review on this where I dissected each story and which one I liked, and I each rated each story individually, but I love this book. It's a great contemporary read, especially in the winter and Christmas months, obviously, but I think you can read it any of the year. Honestly, if I could read it right now, I'd be okay with it. But it's just so great, and what's good is that there's actually a sequel, almost, called Summer Days and Summer Nights coming out this summer, which is probably going to be about a full summer and all that kind of stuff, so I could have probably waited to make this video till then, but I just wanted to include this because it's such a great book. I love it so. It's actually my favorite holiday book, if I could, say I have a favorite. The last book I'm going to talk about is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. This is a duology contemporary series. A duology contemporary? I don't know. I like this book. I don't love it. I like the first one a lot more than the second one. This is about a girl named, what was her name? Laura Jean. And Laura Jean writes letters to her crushes. She has sporadic crushes throughout life, much like any of us do. And she always writes a letter, and she addresses it even, but she just puts it on her bed, and then they get shipped out, and so she gets the repercussions of those letters, all these boys asking her. That's what I thought this book was going to be. I'd say it was around only 2 letters she really got to the boys, figuring out, you sent me this letter, you liked me, why didn't you talk to me? All this kind of stuff. I really wanted more in that aspect. I would love if, all the boys showed up at her doorstep and be like, you liked me, I didn't know. And she'd be like, holy crap. That would have been cool, but it's a really cute book. That's what I'm putting on here. It's a very cute, sugary book, I'd say. The main character, Laura Jean, she's kind of immature, but she's like 15, 16 in the series, so it's totally understandable. But I liked it regardless, and that's why I put it on this series, because it's a good book. It's a good, solid book. It's just not like one of my all-time favorites. So anyway, that was my updated top 10 favorite contemporary novels, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys were okay with a couple of them being the same, but maybe this year will bring a whole new bunch of amazing contemporary novels, and I may have to make another one of these videos come next year. Who knows what the future holds for contemporary novels, but I love reading them. I love reviewing them. All that kind of stuff. But I hope you guys liked watching, and if you have any favorite contemporary novels that I did not mention or stuff like that, please let me know down below, because I am always on the hunt for new contemporary novels. I read them much more than I probably should, honestly, but that's okay. You guys have a great rest of your day. Be sure to click thumbs up on this video and subscribe for more videos. I do a video every week, and I would love to see you join the Bookables family. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.
Take your time with me, and you did it well. Let's take our time to be caught